Welcome back to Panda Audiobooks. The Gate of Lamentations has fallen, and the air of the higher realms has turned into a freezing void. Jian Wushuang and the remnants of the Star Eater Rebellion have officially entered the Lion's Den. In our last episode, Wushuang broke through the final gate, but the revelation of his Sentinel uncle has left a wound in his heart deeper than any blade could carve. Today, we meet the architects of the end. Chapters 236 through 240 take us into the Abyssal Corridor, a bridge made of compressed stars that leads directly to the Eclipse Pillar. But the bridge is not empty. Standing in their way is the first of the three Primal Sovereigns, Sovereign Frost. Unlike the generals Wushuang has fought before, a Primal Sovereign doesn't just use energy, they command the laws of nature. With a single breath, Frost freezes the rebel fleet in time. Wushuang must now fight a battle where every second lasts an eternity. The war for the soul of the cosmos begins. Chapter 236 starts right now. Chapter 236. Getting into action. The headquarters of the Raindrop Pavilion is located in the ancient heart city of Qiannan Province. The Nine Emperors sect had already spread the word. In 3 days they would destroy the Raindrop Pavilion. Today is the day. The whole of ancient Heart City, including the various sects of Qiannan Province, had their eyes on the Raindrop Pavilion. Inside the pavilion, the atmosphere was strangely dense. Many warriors had come together to receive orders from Tang Wuji, with the guests earlier as a secondary authority. And as for Jian Wushuang, his presence was only known to a few in the whole Raindrop Pavilion. This dense atmosphere was broken by a sudden gust of wind sweeping towards them from far away. They are here. Tang Wuji had a stiff expression as he stood on the roof and gazed forward, off into the distance. In the distance, a large number of black dots began appearing in quick succession. The warriors from the Nine Emperors sect mostly rode on griffins. Only 5 people were able to voidwalk, arriving at the headquarters of the Raindrop Pavilion in an instant. This lineup. Seeing the warriors from the Nine Emperors sect right before their eyes, everyone in the Raindrop Pavilion became distressed. Only 5 people in the Nine Emperors sect had reached Yinyang Void Realm, and they were all here. Not only that, more than half of the warriors who had reached the exceptional Gold Core Realm were here as well. They brought everyone they could. Quite a few warriors from various places were hidden in the surrounding area. Seeing this scene unfold before their eyes caused them to sigh. 3 people stood on top of a tall building that was close. They were also aware of what was happening at the Raindrop Pavilion. These 3 people were from the Ouyang clan, and one of them was Xianxia, who had previously been reprimanded by Jian Wushuang. The Nine Emperors sect has gone all out. They are determined to destroy the Raindrop Pavilion, so I really want to see if they can survive past today. Xianxia had a cold expression as he stared at the warriors of the Raindrop Pavilion with hatred. Xianxia, which one injured you? An elegant man peacefully asked. That man is not amongst these warriors. He should be hiding somewhere nearby, or maybe he has already left, Xianxia replied. You have reached the profound Yin Void Realm, but that man could still injure you so easily. He must at least have reached the exceptional Yin Void Realm, or maybe even be a Yin Void champion. According to your description, he is very young. Even I am curious about this young and forceful warrior, the man smiled and said. It was only because I underestimated him, giving him the chance to attack. If we were to fight one-on-one, he might not be my opponent, Xianxia whispered. Oh. The elegant man raised his brow and smiled, not saying anything else. The warriors of the Nine Emperors sect had all arrived before the headquarters of the Raindrop Pavilion. Mo Feng, the upper elder of the Nine Emperors sect, cast a glance at the numerous warriors and waved his hand. From today onwards, there will no longer be a Raindrop Pavilion in Qianzhong dynasty. Kill. There was not any trash talking. The purpose of the Nine Emperors sect's attack this time was to claim authority once and for all. The warriors of the Nine Emperors sect were all ready. Upon Mo Feng's orders, each of them turned into hungry wolves and headed towards the warriors of Raindrop Pavilion. Fight! Tang Wuji let out a hungry cry. Although the warriors of Raindrop Pavilion were not as good as those from the Nine Emperors sect, they still fought with their lives. Once both sides met each other, the battle truly began. However, there was such a huge difference between their strength, the end result was visible right from the start. Those from the Raindrop Pavilion were not good at defending and were overwhelmed by their enemy. This scene caused those warriors from the various sects, who were hiding, to let out sighs of despair. The difference is too big. There is a clear loser. They cannot defend at all. The only reason the Raindrop Pavilion was able to stand against the Nine Emperors sect in the past was because of the Ouyang clan's support. But 2 days ago, for some unknown reason, the two had a dispute. Without the Ouyang clan, how is the Pavilion of Raindrops going to fight against the Nine Emperors sect? Indeed, the Nine Emperors sect is a top sect in the Qianzong dynasty. Although they previously suffered and had a loss in strength, a starving camel will always be bigger than a horse. They are still not someone to mess with. At least, someone at the level of the Raindrop Pavilion is not strong enough to mess with them. Upon hearing these words, the warriors pitted the Raindrop Pavilion. They could see that both parties were vastly different in strength. Unless a miracle occurred, the Raindrop Pavilion would meet its end here. But miracles do exist. When the fight broke out, Jian Wushuang, who was also watching from nearby, twitched at a thought. This Nine Emperors sect sure is vigilant. Even now, Mo Feng has yet to move, despite many warriors doing so. With a single glance, Jian Wushuang spotted the upper elder of the Nine Emperors sect, Mo Feng. Mo Feng was standing off in the distance, with no intention to intervene. He seemed to be waiting around only as a backup. Aside from Mo Feng, the old guy I saw 2 days ago at the Nine Emperors sect has not appeared either. Jian Wushuang's eyes smiled. He was not worried about Mo Feng, who had just reached the initial Yang Void realm. But the weathered elder that he previously saw at the Nine Emperor sect was undeniably strong. He deserved Jian Wushuang's respect. And that weathered elder had yet to appear, which led Jian Wushuang to suspect that he was hiding nearby. Screw it. There is no way the Raindrop Pavilion can withstand this attack. If I don't intervene now, the loss will be huge. Jian Wushuang lightly smiled and flew forward. The battle was still progressing. Those from the Raindrop Pavilion were retreating on their own. Damn it! What to do? What to do? Pavilion Master, we must immediately think of a way to retreat. Loud voices rose one after another, and Tang Wuji frowned deeply while listening to them. Then, he heard a light voice. You need to be careful. Whatever happens next, leave it to me, boss. Tang Wuji was startled and quickly looked up. On the battlefield, he saw a Yin Void warrior from the Nine Emperors sect that was recklessly killing his opponents. Suddenly, a shadow with a black robe stealthily appeared beside him. Then, he saw a cold sharp blade emitting sword light. Shua! The sword light cut through the warrior's neck easily and a human head was sent flying into the sky. After that, the black robe shadow vanished and appeared again in front of another Yin Void warrior. Shua! The same scene reenacted itself. In only a moment, 2 Yin Void warriors from the Nine Emperors sect had been killed. Damn it! Standing on the edge of the battlefield, Mo Feng saw the scene unfold and was furious. Chapter 237. Kill. Mo Feng could no longer sit still. Power at the Yang Void realm radiated from him as he immediately rushed toward Jian Wushuang. The Nine Emperors sect was heavily weakened by Jian Wushuang half a year ago. However, after recovering for half a year, there were now 5 warriors from the Nine Emperors sect in the Yin-Yang Void realm. But, just now, 2 of them had been killed by Jian Wushuang in the blink of an eye. This would cause anyone to feel the heartache. Whoosh! Jian Wushuang moved like a ghost, quickly drifting through the area and killing those 2 warriors in succession. Then he flew towards a purple-robed middle-aged man, who was the current sect master of the Nine Emperors sect, Chu Nan. That ice-cold sword light flashed again. What? Chu Nan was shocked. Stop! Stop right now! Mo Feng, who was rushing there, shouted. But Jian Wushuang didn't stop. The ice-cold sword light, containing a humongous power, pierced forward with a burst of killing intent. Chu Nan realized his intent and tried his best to defend. But, because of the huge gap in their strength, he was only able to slow him down a little. Young man, you dare! Mo Feng raged. In the next moment, he could only watch as the sword light passed through Chu Nan's neck, cutting off his head. You're dead! A second later, Mo Feng's expression twisted and the look in his eyes became cold. While staring at Jian Wushuang, a huge hammer instantly appeared in his hand out of nowhere. At a glance, the huge hammer seemed to weigh 1,000 catties, but Mo Feng easily held it and swung it. At the very moment, he swung it, creating ripples that contained a terrifying power and spread out in waves, forcing the warriors who were fighting in the area to retreat. Rumble! The hammer roared and appeared beside Jian Wushuang. Ridiculous! Jian Wushuang sneered without glancing at Mo Feng, then he adjusted his grip and hacked out with his sword. It was a normal move, but it used his full strength. The power of this move almost reached the profound Yang Void Realm, which was definitely more powerful than Mo Feng, who had only recently reached the initial Yang Void Realm bang. With a thunder sound, the huge hammer trembled. Then a strong force passed through the hammer to Mo Feng. Mo Feng's eyes widened with shock and his face turned pale. He couldn't help looking at Jian Wushuang while he retreated. He saw Jian Wushuang's figure fly up and rush toward him. "You thought you could kill me?" Jian Wushuang sneered and said, "I killed Chunan, and I can kill you too." After he finished speaking, a terrifying killing intent radiated from him, filling the area. Even Mo Feng had never seen such a strong killing intent. When Jian Wushuang looked at him again, Mo Feng couldn't help feeling terrified, as if the one he faced with was not a human being but an Asura from hell. At this moment, Jian Wushuang hacked out with his long sword again. This weightless move which seemed weak and feeble, but the slaughter source contained in it was enough to freeze the entire area. As it moved toward Mo Feng, his eyes widened and the feeling of an unprecedented and deadly crisis struck him. He had no doubt that this weightless and seemingly weak move could kill him in an instant.
"Help me, Mr. Ku, help me!"
Mo Feng called out with a sad and shrill voice. Hearing that, the weathered elder on crutches who had been hiding suddenly moved. He moved at a speed that was much faster than Jian Wushuang. Before the sword light fell on Mo Feng, the weathered elder appeared. His eyes flashed with a sharp look as he stretched out his dry and yellow palm, covered in a flowing stream of spiritual power, then turning into a sharp claw as it caught Jian Wushuang's long sword. Crack! The sharp claw caught the sword and prevented it from moving. Arrogant! Jian Wushuang suddenly shouted as the power contained in the sword surged. At the same time the killing intent formed into a flowing light and rushed towards the weathered elder's forehead. Hum! Surprise flashed in the weathered elder's eyes as he immediately released the sword blade in his hand, slamming down with the crutch in his other hand to defend. As the crutch smashed down, the fleeting sound of a thunder crash was heard. Bang! 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 Crashes sounded, with each collision creating a small blast wave. Several moments later, a large blast wave formed and swept out in all directions. Rumble! The whole area trembled, with both Jian Wushuang and the weathered elder being forced backwards. As they separated, the whole battlefield turned peaceful. Many warriors from the Nine Emperors sect and the Raindrop Pavilion were shocked. Even the warriors in hiding were aghast. Too fast. What happened just now was so fast. From the moment Jian Wushuang began moving, he had killed 2 warriors from the Nine Emperors sect in succession, as well as killing their sect master, Chunan, and then forced Mo Feng back. At that point, the weathered elder appeared to save Mo Feng and a fierce exchange happened between Jian Wushuang and the weathered elder. So fast. It all happened suddenly and ended just as quickly. Before the warriors in the area could even react, Jian Wushuang and the weathered elder had already moved away from each other. And 3 bodies lay on the ground. Among them, 2 were elders of the Nine Emperors sect, and the other was the sect master of the Nine Emperors sect. In such a short time, they were all killed by Jian Wushuang? How terrifying was his strength! That man is from the Raindrop Pavilion? No, he must be a helper that was hired by the Raindrop Pavilion. Ha ha, there is still hope. Many warriors from the Raindrop Pavilion suddenly seemed to be infused with excitement. Boss! Tang Wuji also looked at Jian Wushuang excitedly. Those guests of the Raindrop Pavilion who were becoming desperate before, suddenly became hopeful when they saw Jian Wushuang's strength, and their hope continued to increase. On the other side, the people of the Nine Emperors sect did not look happy. Up in the air, Jian Wushuang and the weathered elder stood facing each other, and Mo Feng had already moved back out of the way. Although he was a warrior in the Yang Void Realm, He understood that he was not qualified to join this fight. Old man, you stayed hidden for such a long time. Now you've finally decided to show yourself? Jian Wushuang asked and smiled. I was only hidden for a short while, but you? The weathered elder looked over at him coldly and said, We have been searching for you since the Eastermost hunt ended, but you seem to have disappeared from the face of the earth for the last half-year. Today, you finally reappeared. Jian Wushuang, it was not easy to find you. Chapter 238, Ku-Ya. As soon as the weathered elder finished speaking, especially since he mentioned Jian Wushuang, all the people in the surrounding area broke out into heated debates. What did he say? Who was he referring to? Jian Wushuang? That young warrior with the sword is Jian Wushuang? Jian Wushuang, the strongest person on the earthly dragon list? The strongest genius, beyond dispute, since the Qianzong dynasty was established. A myth. A legend. Everyone looked at Jian Wushuang, with eyes full of panic and shock, as well as blind worship. Jian Wushuang was so famous in Qianzong dynasty. Before attending the Eastermost hunt, he was the strongest on the earthly dragon list and the most talented genius in the Qianzong dynasty. But after the Easternmost hunt, as soon as the Easternmost hunt ended, everything that happened on the battlefield spread. Naturally, news of his shocking battle results during the Easternmost hunt spread. He defeated 2 large empires alone. One sword move killed 14 geniuses of the Cosmos Empire, each of which could be ranked top 5 on the earthly dragon list. Finally, Jian Wushuang led the Qianzong dynasty, a small empire, and trod over the other 11 northwestern dynasties. In the end, the top 6 ranks of the Easternmost hunt were all taken by warriors from the Qianzong dynasty. The Qianzong dynasty had really performed a miracle in this Easternmost hunt. And Jian Wushuang was the leading hero. They heard that Jian Wushuang had also confronted and killed many assassins from Blood Feather Tower during the Easternmost hunt, including an expert in the Yang Void Realm. The news was spread, but it was not confirmed. These battle records basically made him a legend. The Millennium Chronicle, written by the Gladiator Arena, had long recorded a dozen pages about Jian Wushuang, identifying him as the most talented genius in the Qianzong dynasty's history. Now, the legendary hero many warriors worshipped was standing in front of them. He is. On a high building nearby, Xianxia of the Ouyang clan was staring at Jian Wushuang wide-eyed. He was unconvinced before and thought he was heavily hurt by Jian Wushuang 2 days ago because of his carelessness. But now, after learning about Jian Wushuang's identity, he didn't have anything to say. The gentleman standing beside Xianxia seemed a little weird now. Is he Jian Wushuang? Haha, interesting. That's why he was able to defeat Xianxia so easily. He is much stronger than half a year ago when he was in the Easternmost hunt. I suspect he has reached the Yin Void Realm. The gentleman was curious about Jian Wushuang's cultivation. Everyone who was watching was curious as well. At this moment the weathered elder spoke again. Your strength has improved so much in just a year's time. I fought with you in person and still couldn't easily defeat you. Your cultivation. The weathered elder's face was grim. Looking carefully, though Jian Wushuang had concealed his strength, the weathered elder was able to tell because of how close they were standing and because his own cultivation was higher. The peak of the Yin Void Realm? The weathered elder suddenly stared with his eyes wide open and said in a deep voice, In half a year, you broke through from the exceptional gold core realm to the peak of the Yin Void Realm. Jian Wushuang, I was contemptuous of the rumor that you were the most talented genius of the Qianzong dynasty. But now, it seems that I have underestimated you. His words, husky and low, were heard by everyone in the area. Peak. Yin Void? Can he really be at the peak of the Yin Void Realm? How can that be? God, it's only been half a year. He was just in the gold core realm when he attended the Easternmost hunt half a year ago. He improved from the exceptional gold core realm to the initial Yin Void Realm, then the profound Yin Void Realm, the exceptional Yin Void Realm, and finally to the Yin Void Champion in half a year. My God! Amazing! Everyone on the battlefield and in the surrounding area was shocked. Everyone stared at Jian Wushuang with shocked expressions. They couldn't help thinking that he was truly a monster, breaking through from the exceptional gold core realm to the peak of the Yin Void Realm within just half a year. No one could imagine that. Even though everyone else was shocked, Jian Wushuang was calm. It was normal for the weathered elder to recognize him since he wasn't wearing anything to hide his face. Jian Wushuang smiled slightly, looked over at the weathered elder, and said, "You really are from Bloodfeather Tower. May I know your name?" "Ku-Ya." The weathered elder said. "Ku-Ya." Jian Wushuang raised his eyebrows and said, "I've never heard of you." Warriors in Bloodfeather Tower are as numerous as clouds in the sky. How could you know them all?" Ku-Ya said with a snort. That was true. As an overlord of the Qianzong dynasty, Bloodfeather Tower did have a lot of warriors. Greyrobe, who was in charge of the intelligence network in Bloodfeather Tower, might be one of the top 3 influential figures, but his cultivation was only at the initial Yang Void Realm, which was quite normal. There should be others in Bloodfeather Tower who were much stronger than him. Such as this man, Ku-Ya. He was much stronger than Greyrobe. "It doesn't matter whether you know me or not. From today on, you will never be able to forget me, because you will die while filled with resentment towards me," Ku-Ya said while staring at Jian Wushuang with a cold expression. Jian Wushuang's expression was cold as he said, "Greyrobe tried to assassinate me several times, but what was the result? It turned out that he died by my hand. I'm not the same as that idiot. I will not underestimate a peerless genius like you, so I'll use all my strength to kill you once I take action." Ku-Ya slightly raised his palms and a surge of spiritual power gathered in them. The level of power was much greater than the initial Yang Void Realm or even the profound Yang Void Realm. Ku-Ya, he should be an expert in the exceptional Yang Void Realm. The exceptional Yang Void Realm? Jian Wushuang squinted. When he first saw Ku-Ya in the Nine Emperors sect 2 days ago, he knew that his strength was extraordinary. And the quick fight he just had with Ku-Ya was only for show. Neither one of them used their full strength. Only now did Jian Wushuang realize what level Ku-Ya's cultivation was at. While radiating a strong aura, Ku-Ya tightly clenched his fists and slowly stepped forward. With each step, his aura became stronger, until it finally reached his limit. Then Ku-Ya immediately made his move. Jian Wushuang, prepare to die. Chapter 239, 100 Beasts Essence Realm. Boom! The air suddenly trembled. An invisible wave rippled outwards, but Ku-Ya had disappeared from where he had been before. Where are they? Numerous warriors, including those who were hidden, all focused their gaze. They just barely noticed a ray of light slicing through the air. Shua! The space in front of Jian Wushuang suddenly erupted as a yellow shriveled palm, which changed to resemble an eagle claw, grasped at Jian Wushuang's throat. So fast! A trace of surprise flashed in Jian Wushuang's eyes. While observing the shattered space in front of him, his body retreated. At the same time, he grasped his long sword and sliced through the air with a horizontal sword light that headed directly towards Ku-Ya. Although Ku-Ya's initial claw attack failed, the power collected at his fingertips caused the area to tremble until it was on the verge of collapse. Then he changed forms from the claw, back to an opened palm, then thrust towards Jian Wushuang again, with a gust of terrifying spiritual power concentrated in his palm. 3 beasts killing fist, ape killing fist. Ku-Ya let out a low howl as a towering shadow suddenly rose from his back. It was the shadow of a giant ape that seemed to have come here from ancient times. When the giant ape formed, a gust of ancient yet chilling air radiated out. At the same time, the giant ape ferociously pounded its own chest before morphing into a fist an instant later. This fist was as big as a mountain, and it directly exploded outwards. Rumble! Whoosh! This monstrous fist rushed through the air and immediately shattered the ray of sword light that was flying towards it before continuing to fly towards Jian Wushuang, who was quickly retreating. Jian Wushuang's eyes squinted mildly and sparkled with light. Break! With a low growl, Slaughter Origin exploded and a shocking gust of killing intent filled the area. Then, Jian Wushuang's ferocious long sword surged with Slaughter Origin as it charged out like a falling meteor towards the giant ape fist. Pang! As the two forces met, a loud bang was heard, and a hole appeared in the giant ape's fist. The hole gradually increased until it caused the fist to shatter. A magnificent spiritual power flowed out in every direction and dispersed. You can actually fight back against this move head-on? Ku Wei stared at Jian Wushuang with a cold expression on his face, then he suddenly leapt forward. The moment when he leapt forward, the shadow of the giant ape behind him also immediately changed. What was originally an ancient giant ape had become a fierce tiger that was in the prowling position and ready to attack. This fierce tiger was also massive beyond comparison. Three beasts killing fist. Tiger killing fist. Ku Wei summoned his strength and struck out with his palm once again. Roar! Along with a roar, the prowling tiger shadow behind him instantly exploded with power. Its huge body leapt and lunged directly towards Jian Wushuang. As it lunged forward, Jian Wushuang felt a heavy pressure weigh down on his heart that he did not dare to take lightly. As the long sword was thrust forward, Slaughter Origin was harnessed to its extreme. Boom! A collision occurred once again, but this time Jian Wushuang was forced to retreat in a shameful manner. Not bad. You are indeed Qianzong Dynasty's most talented genius. The first two moves of my three beasts killing fist could not stop you. But let's see how you fare against the third move, Ku Wei said in low and emotionless voice. As his voice fell, he suddenly moved, causing a gust of spiritual power to begin swirling. As he bent his body, the shadow tiger began to transform once more into a long meandering dragon. Even stationary, this dragon was already more than 30 feet in height. This enormous dragon scanned the surroundings below with its eyes, and everyone felt a chilling aura from the body of this enormous dragon. Three beasts killing fist. Dragon killing fist. Ku Wei suddenly let out an explosive roar as the dragon straightened its meandering body. Its body looked like an arrow that had locked onto its target and was ready to be released. Then the enormous dragon shadow behind Ku Wei instantly shot forward. Immediately the world became grey. The massive dragon flew through the air, leaving the sound of thunder wherever it passed. It only took a moment for the dragon to appear in front of Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang's pupils contracted slightly as he did everything he could to resist the attack. But when Jian Wushuang truly collided with the massive dragon, the dragon exploded. Boom! Jian Wushuang's body shot backwards like a cannonball, crashing down towards the rooftop of the Raindrop Pavilion. Even though the house could be considered big, it was immediately shattered by the massive force. As for Jian Wushuang, he continued falling toward the ground, creating a gigantic hole where he landed. After falling and creating the gigantic hole, Jian Wushuang was silent for a moment. Is he dead? Ku Wei floated in the air while looking at the giant pit with slightly squinted eyes. To die under the dragon-killing fist of my three beasts killing fist can be considered an honor, Ku Wei said proudly to himself. But just as he finished speaking, a rumble was heard. In the giant pit, rocks started to float toward the sky and morphing into rays of flowing light, which flew towards Ku Wei at a visible speed. Ku Wei's expression sank. With a wave of his hand, the floating rocks were smashed. But Jian Wushuang climbed out of the pit and reappeared once again. He quickly leapt into the sky and stopped in front of Ku Wei. You didn't die. Ku Wei looked at Jian Wushuang and asked. His expression changed slightly and said, not only did you live, you didn't even get injured? Ku Wei naturally felt a bit uneasy. Ku Wei knew that he had already used his full strength, even using the most powerful move of the three beasts killing fist. But in the end, he didn't harm Jian Wushuang at all. Jian Wushuang looked at Ku Wei with a strange expression and thought, this old guy's essence realm really is quite special. After a few confrontations, Jian Wushuang understood Ku Wei's strength. The exceptional Yang Void realm was indeed impressive, and Ku Wei's essence realm was also very unique. Jian Wushuang could tell that Ku Wei had comprehended two essences. One was Thunderbolt, but the one with greater mastery was the 100 Beasts essence. The 100 Beasts essence. If he persisted in comprehending it, there was a chance he would comprehend the origin of all beasts. There were many origins in the universe, and the origin of all beasts was one of the extremely powerful origins. What a pity. Although Ku Wei understood these two unique realms, he had not merged them. If he had, then he would have been able to kill this slaughter doppelganger of mine. Jian Wushuang shook his head secretly. That's right. Ku Wei had displayed his awesome power, and the exceptional Yang Void realm was indeed very impressive. But it was still not good enough to be praised by Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang stood in the air. With a flip of his hand, an explosive long sword beyond comparison flew out from his palm. As for the original long sword, he kept it in his interspatial ring. Looking at the triple kill sword in his hand, he spoke with a tone of expectancy. "Kid, this is your first fight after your awakening. Don't let me down." Chapter 240. The Unparalleled Sword. The triple kill sword is a killing sword and a superior third-grade magic weapon with extraordinary power. Therefore, when Jian Wushuang returned from the ancestors' land, he kept the triple kill sword in his interspatial ring. Instead, he carried an average long sword on his back. Usually, he used this average long sword. It was only when he met real experts that he used the triple kill sword. In the current battle, he killed 3 Yin Void warriors from the 9 Emperors sect in succession and even battled fiercely with Ku-Ya. But he had never once used the triple kill sword. PSH. Trying to play tricks now. Ku-Ya noticed when the long sword in Jian Wushuang's hand changed, but he did not care. With one stride, he once again appeared in front of Jian Wushuang. "Although I couldn't kill you instantly, it doesn't matter. I only need one more shot," Ku-Ya spoke in a chilling tone. His body bent forward as a massive meandering dragon reappeared. 3 beasts killing fist. Dragon killing fist. With Ku-Ya's explosive shout, the massive dragon, covered by a layer of thunderbolt essence, roared and slammed itself directly towards Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang's expression was as peaceful as water, but the triple kill sword in his hands started pulsating crazily as if it was shouting with excitement. Jian Wushuang then grabbed the triple kill sword, raised it high above him and released a horrifying surge of killing intent. This surge of killing intent, strong beyond comparison, shot into the sky. The sky, which was originally vast and clear, became dark, with stormy clouds crowding the sky. A vague figure appeared behind Jian Wushuang. It was a 50-foot tall giant. The giant stood straight and appeared like a god of war. For the countless warriors that were watching the battle, they could not help but look terrified. Everybody was looking at the giant with a horrific expression because the giant was exerting an enormous amount of pressure on them. As Jian Wushuang's triple kill sword was slowly raised over his head, the long sword in the giant's hand was raised simultaneously. Rumble. The whole earth seemed to be trembling as killing intent permeated the air. Blood emptying technique, the first move, all-smashing stroke. The light in Jian Wushuang's eyes exploded and seemed to take form as it swept everything away. The triple kill sword that was raised high above his head fiercely hacked down. The magnificent giant behind him also swung his sword down. An unparalleled sword strike. Sword of killing. It was finally here. The world roared and the air seemed to solidify. All light immediately disappeared, leaving only a majestic bloody sword shadow. The bloody sword shadow was huge beyond comparison and its power was even more monstrous. It immediately slew the massive dragon which was charging towards him. Facing this unparalleled sword, the massive dragon seemed like a small insect without the power to resist. Shua! The sword light landed on the massive dragon's body and hacked the dragon into 2 halves. The power of this unparalleled sword was only slightly weakened, then it continued to charge towards Ku-Ya. This. Ku-Ya's pupils, which had always been contracted, opened wide. A trace of shock could be detected in his gaze, as if he could not believe this attack came from Jian Wushuang, a Yin Void champion. In the next moment, the unparalleled sword pierced through him mercilessly. Ku-Ya's body split apart, then the sword strike frantically vibrated and tore his body to pieces, only leaving behind a blood drizzle. Exception Yang Void Realm expert Ku-Ya, dead. Silence. Whether it was the surrounding battlefields or the hidden warriors from the different sects, all of them were silent at this moment. What just happened? An exceptional Yang Void Realm warrior, a top expert in the Qianzong dynasty, was directly killed by a single sword strike? Killed so swiftly? With no resistance at all? And Jian Wushuang was so young? 6 months ago, when he participated in the Easternmost hunt, he was only 19. Now, half a year later, he might be 20. A 20-year-old killed someone in the exceptional Yang Void Realm? How was he so powerful? Unbelievable, that was the word in everyone's mind at the moment. As for Jian Wushuang, he was still holding his long sword as usual. He floated in the air, looking at the bloody haze on the ground as he shook his head and said, Being in the exceptional Yang Void realm, you might have been a top warrior in the Qianzong dynasty, but you were still no match for me. As far as everyone knew, in the easternmost hunt, Jian Wushuang had been in the exceptional Gold Core realm when he fought against Greyrobe, who was in the initial Yang Void realm. And he even had a bit of an upper hand. Although only half a year had passed, within the span of 6 months, he had obtained a great amount of luck from the ancestors' land. His strength was way too strong. His cultivation alone he had risen 4 levels, and he had comprehended the slaughter origin. He had made accomplishments in both the slaughter origin and world origin. The sword skill he displayed, the blood-emptying technique, was also of the superior 3rd grade. And he had the legendary triple kill sword, which was also a superior 3rd grade magic weapon. Kuya was only stronger than him in cultivation. In other aspects, he could not compare with Jian Wushuang at all. The 3 beasts killing fist that Kuya prided himself on wasn't even at the origin level. As a whole, Jian Wushuang's real strength exceeded the exceptional Yang Void realm. This allowed him to easily kill Kuya with his slaughter doppelganger, without ever having to fight in person. Jian Wushuang had comprehended world origin first. After a month of meditation at the Rainstorm Palace, his improvement in world origin was much greater than that in slaughter origin, so his own battle strength was definitely higher than his slaughter doppelganger. With the death of Kuya, no one could stop Jian Wushuang anymore. Wang! Jian Wushuang's triple kill sword was vibrating crazily as his body floated out. Mr. Ku was killed? Mo Feng, the upper elder from the 9 Emperors sect, was in a state of shock. Suddenly, he felt a wave of threat seeping into his heart and instantly sensed a chilly sword light by his side. Not good. Mo Feng panicked and desperately tried to resist, but it was to no avail. Shua! The sword light brushed past Mo Feng and his head flew off. After killing him, Jian Wushuang felt that the vibration strength of the triple kill sword increased, as if the triple kill sword had an innate desire to kill. Little guy, don't be impatient, I'll give you one more. Jian Wushuang flashed a chilly smile. His body floated off once again and reappeared in front of the last Yin Void warrior of the 9 Emperors sect. His sword light similarly brushed past him and this Yin Void warrior was instantly killed, with no chance to even resist. As of now, the 5 Yin-Yang Void Realm warriors, including the Yang Void Realm Upper Elder, Mo Feng, had all died. And with that desperate, world-shaking collision of primordial fire and primal ice, we conclude Chapter 240. Wushuang has managed to crack Sovereign Frost's absolute zero defense, but the Abyssal Corridor is collapsing. The Eclipse Pillar is finally visible on the horizon, glowing with a sickly purple light as it prepares to drain the last of Wushuang's father's life force to complete the heavenly ascension. The time for strategy is over. The time for the final charge has come. Join us next time for chapters 241 through 245, as the second Primal Sovereign, the Master of Gravity, descends to crush the rebellion before they can reach the base of the pillar. Thank you for listening to Panda Audiobooks. If you're ready for the ultimate showdown, hit that like button, subscribe, and tell us in the comments, can Wushuang survive facing 3 sovereigns in a row?